I'm nervous. Look around yourself. Trust me, you're a lot more intimidating than I thought. It's going to be fun today. Okay, let me start today by saying something really controversial. Answers don't matter as much. Answers are cheap. They've never been cheaper. Every fact you remember today, every question you get right, is already on my phone, on your phone. My AI can answer it before even a random can complete the question. Then why are we here? I want you to reflect. When was the last time you asked a question? Not Googled it, but a question. Question which nobody was able to answer. Question which kept you awake. I was recently asked one, not by my colleague, not by a student, but my own son. My son's just taken his standard 12 boards. We are applying for his universities. And I've done this for 22 years, guided thousands of students. So this is a decision-making process I understand really well. So one evening he comes to me and says, and hear this, you know what? I want to be an engineer, but I don't want to study engineering. Seriously, that's what he said. For a moment, I went blank. What is he actually trying to tell me? For a minute, I even dismissed him, thinking, oh, Gen Z, trying to be over smart. But I looked at him, he didn't blink. I realized he was serious, very serious about it. That's when I did what I tell all my counselors Fateh to do. Stop talking and start asking. So, as I said, he was in standard 12th, so we were applying for his universities. A few months ago, if I rewind further behind, a few months ago, he had shortlisted that he's going to go for aerospace engineering. Super. Glamorous. Future-facing. Makes for amazing conversation at dinner tables. Ticks all the right boxes. We had his applications ready to apply. But like always, I tell people, are you sure? He went back. He let it marinate. He came back not with an answer, but with another question. So basically what he said was, he wanted to study pure physics, pure maths. He wanted to understand how the world really works. He wanted to build, not by instruction, by how things actually work. Very fascinating. He did not want the label. He wanted the learning. And he was honest enough to know the difference. I felt something I did not expect. Not confusion, but respect. But I felt something more as well. I felt uncomfortable. I felt uncomfortable that I had almost dismissed what he said with a very template-ish answer. That still unnerves me. He had thrown away a perfectly good answer because he did not believe the question was right. And I'd almost done the opposite. This conversation stayed with me. You know why? Interestingly, he wasn't the first. As I said, I've been counseling students for 22 years, counseled thousands of students. And over these thousands of conversations, patterns start to emerge. We have most students come in and ask us, how is that university? How well is it ranked? What are my chances of getting through? Will I get a visa? Good questions, important questions, questions we answer every day. But once in a while, we come across that student who asks a question which makes us go quiet, which makes us to go and introspect. I've been asked quite a few questions, ones which at that point of time, I wasn't very sure what the student was trying to ask. From the whole gamut, I was once asked, will the masalas over there be as spicy as what we get in India? Another student asked me, if it was you, can you envision what is the kind of life you will live in that university? Can you describe it to me? Very interesting. And very recently, I got asked a very different question. I understand this course is very cutting edge, it's on the latest technology, and everything is great. The university is brilliant. But tell me something, what life skills would it teach me? Had me thinking. You know what I've learned every single time? Every single time, the student, the one who asked about the masalas, the one who asked my personal opinion, how my life would be, the one who had seen through the ranking system, the student, that student walks into a study board experience very differently. He lands differently, he engages differently, he comes out differently. Because they did not ask what everybody else was asking. They did ask those, but they went well ahead. They actually imagined the reality. They imagined themselves living that life and then asking questions accordingly. They had questioned the entire framework and not restricted themselves to what typically comes out. They were not looking for the answer alone. They were looking for a better question. Very interestingly, I said we are in a quiz today. And a quiz rewards the correct answer fastest. It's a game, a worthy game. But life is slightly different. The life consistently and stubbornly, without exception, rewards that person in that room who continues to ask a question when everybody else has accepted the explanation. He is the one who goes, are we looking at it correctly? Is there another side to it? That person is not necessarily the loudest. That person is not necessarily the most qualified. That person is not necessarily the one with the best grades. That person is the one who's still asking questions when everybody has quietened down. Even if the question makes people uncomfortable, even when they had a perfectly sound explanation, but they still questioned. That's prudent. I'll tell you something I wouldn't have admitted 2 years ago. I was terrified of AI. I come from a commerce background. You saw that, a BCom background, no tech background at all. And we were reading about how AI would disrupt life. Of course, you're seeing a lot of it today, but this press has been carrying for the last 15 years. And every time I read a story, I used to start thinking, will I be able to steer Fateh through this when it really comes to it? A self-doubt I've always had. So when the large language models went mainstream 2 years ago, my fear peaked. I was worried, am I caught on the wrong side of it? And then I started to use it. Start to bring in a little bit of AI inside a company, and then a little bit more. I realized AI came more naturally to me than I thought it would. It was like a toy to a new toy to a child. I couldn't put it away. And I kept going down the rabbit hole. And you know how rabbit holes are. They're very fascinating. Hard to come out of it as well. So a couple of Sundays ago, a relative came to me and said, "Can you help me with my tourist visa?" We are study abroad counselors. We assist students for counseling. We do help them with their visas, but tourist visas, that's not what we do. But this was family. And I said, okay, I will help. It's a Sunday. My idea was I will go on to one of the LLMs, 20 minutes, probably shoot off a cover letter, help it draft, be done, and by half an hour, gone. And I can go back to enjoying my Sunday. But that's not how it played out. You know the things about rabbit holes? You can't get out of it. So the questions which I started to ask were much more layered. I started to ask it about risks. I started to ask about human psychology. I asked questions which would normally not come in, but because you know what happened is, at some point, something changed. The LLM started to ask me back questions which were feeding from my own understanding or how I was thinking. Questions which I probably would have asked myself. That it started to ask me questions back. That to me was a big, interesting point on that day. You know what started for 20 minutes? I couldn't put it down the whole day. I asked it questions, it asked me back, we went back and forth. But out of which emerged the whole day was not just a cover letter, obviously we were done very quickly, but emerged a tool which could analyze student documents, identify risk from every angle, from financial to academic, and name it, suggest ways to mitigate it, write cover letters specifically meant for visa, mitigating those risks, not those boilerplate ones, but ones which were customized. Version 2 of it went live yesterday. I was testing the machine. I came out realizing the machine was reflecting back at me myself. The output, and there's something very interesting I realized, the output of AI is directly proportional to the quality of our thinking. The same tool, two different people, one with a sharper, more curious mind, gets a categorically different answer. AI does not replace a good mind, it multiplies it. Because the mind that asks about the masalas, the one which threw away our aerospace application, that spent a Sunday pulling threads, that mind gets a different result from the same tool than anyone else. The future does not belong to the person with the most answers stored. Again, interesting, I'm telling you on the day of a quiz, the future does not belong to the one who has the most answer stores. It belongs to the person still asking. I know when you walk out today, you probably would have forgotten what I spoke today. What may stay is probably this auditorium, your team, the questions you answered, maybe the ones you missed, memories, your memories, probably good ones. But I want you to remember something else. When you walk out today, I want you to think about it. Every question you ask, every thread you pull, every time you sit with something which makes you uncomfortable for a bit longer, it adds up. It may not seem so until it does. Today, all eyes are going to be on the scoreboard. But remember, scoreboard is a shorter game. The mind you walk out today, that's the one that matters. Good luck. Thank you.